Hello, all my fellow yappers, and welcome back to my channel. This is Nia The Yapper, and we are back with another Love Island kind of discussion. We're going to be talking about KeKe Palmer and KeKe Palmer's interview with Chelley and Olandria. I'm so excited. So we kind of start off with the interview. This is kind of Chelley and Olandria's first interview outside of the villa. And so KeKe is like, what is the first thing that you guys did when you got your phones? And so Olandria and Chelley basically said that they talked to their families first. And then they kind of checked social media and they kind of saw how social media was feeling them. Chelley says that she was happy to leave the villa and that they had, they kind of talked to a therapist before they leave. Like basically Love Island kind of prepares them for what they're going to probably endure once they leave the villa and what's going to happen basically once they, get tapped back into the real world. So they try to kind of mentally prepare them for maybe some backlash, a lot of, attention, a lot of eyes on them. It's a lot to become somebody that was not in the public eye to someone that's like visibly in the public eye for 6 weeks. So, and them not knowing that they're that popular is a lot to deal with. So they got therapists and things like that. But the people, the therapists and the producers, they kept saying to them before they left, like, hey, are y'all good? Like, make sure that y'all check in with people because y'all season is really, 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 really big. So we dealt with that. Next, we have KeKe. She brings up all the racial influx that is happening. KeKe mentions the BuzzFeed post, and then all of them, basically both Chelley and Olandria, and I could tell Olandria didn't speak too much in this interview. More so Chelley was the lead of this interview. So Chelley kind of told her I love all the people who've been defending them. I myself have been defending them. They love all of their supporters, and that they do not like the hate and they do not want to spread hate, or nor do they want to use their platform to spread hate, which I love, which not many of the other islanders, well, we know one is not doing that, but we're not going to talk about her in this episode because this is all about Chelley and Olandria, who I love. Okay, so with that, Chelley said that she could not understand the knuckle sandwich from BuzzFeed. I couldn't understand it either. BuzzFeed. Anywho, and she couldn't understand the mean girl comments. Basically, what we're going to hear throughout this whole interview is how her and Olandria could not understand the mean girl comments that they were getting when they were basically the main ones that were being so supportive, being the people that everybody can go to, being the shoulder that everybody can cry on. So it was very confusing for them to then come out of the villa and everyone's claiming them to be a mean girl off of a challenge where they were supposed to tell the truth and say how they really feel. So yeah. So next, and then with that, sorry, I'm reading off my notes. So with that, Chelley said that her family was kind of devastated with how everyone was treating, of course, how they were treating their daughter, of course. So I see no difference in that. But it's really horrible what they had to go through. It's really horrible as Black women, how we can't speak up for ourselves, say anything without us catching any judgment or flack. We're supposed to be really quiet and really, stoic. But then even when we're like that, it's like, where's the real her? Where's the, we're assumed that we're supposed to be ratchet and all these things. And we just can never catch a break. There is nothing that a Black woman does that satisfies anyone. So like I said in my last video, if I am not digestible for you, then please choke, because I could care less. Next we have Chelley, and she says that she appreciates the support again, and KeKe asked what made them want to join Love Island. Chelley said that she was reached out to from, the scouts of Love Island before season 7. So she was basically reached out to probably in 2024 or early 2025. But typically, I think they do their reaching out. I don't know, probably a year or so, but I don't know. Then we find out that Olandria has been reached out to since 2023. 2023. They've been wanting Olandria since 2023. Okay. Let's Clark it, like how Jesse Wu says, Clark it, okay? She's been wanted since 2023, which is so interesting, but I mean, I'm not surprised. They pick the baddest out of they pick the bad black women, okay? They be looking bad, they be looking good, they be looking okay. They pick the baddest out of the baddest black women. So I will give them that. Do they treat them right? No. But do they get the looks down pat? Yes, they do. Um, so they both said that they were both happy that they still did it, even though with the backlash and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that was a wonderful experience. The backlash really didn't come within the middle of the in the middle of the season. That came at the end because they're coming out of the villa. But I'm pretty sure they had a wonderful experience. It's a different experience. So KeKe then asked what made them. What if they were asked to do Casa, and they both was like, no, I refused to be on Casa, to come in as a Casa girl, how they both wanted to be Olandria and Chelley, but Olandria made it real clear, like, no, like I had to come in as an OG, as a starting cast in Love Island, that she could not be a Casa girl. I said, period. Because personally, the Casa girls always get flack. They always get judged. They never get the fairest shot because they're typically considered the girls who's supposed to ruffle up the strong connections, feathers, and they're supposed to come in and, basically steal somebody's man, which is sad, but it is what it is. It's the game of Love Island, y'all. Anyways, so we're moving on. They both said that their families were very supportive, but Chelley's dad wanted her to be like very, pure and, wholesome. And I was like, well, this ain't the show for that. They be kissing. What I think Jesse Wu says, tongues and tonsils. It's TNT, tongues and tonsils, honey. They ain't nothing wholesome. Ain't nothing pure on that show. But she did keep it cute in a way. I feel like Chelley did have some substance there, as well as Olandria, by not opening up their legs and by keeping it cute by kissing in challenges, but not doing the most, outside of that, unless they really had a cute couple. So I felt like even for her to be on Love Island, she still kept herself with some substance. But yeah, she told her that. She was like, do you know what show I'm getting on? So then they talked about how they go through this really long application process where they ask you all of these questions, and that's basically what goes on through the application. And then they basically, those questions that they asked, like how they asked the guys and the girls in the challenges, I forget, it was like the earlier episodes where they asked you how many bodies, how many this, like that challenge early in the season. Those are where those questions kind of pop up, or like when they do smaller challenges where they ask all these questions. Typically, those questions that they did in the application are the questions that tend to pop up during the challenges. But I don't feel like we got a lot of those where I feel like we only had one challenge where it was like that, where they asked questions that they were probably asked within the application. So let me see. But then they said that Austin was not lying on his questions, that they believed Austin was telling the 100% truth when he was saying, I think they were referring to when he said he had 1,000 bodies or something like that. And, like him taking nudes and stuff like that. So that was kind of funny. And then Chelley states that, so KeKe kind of asked her, like, girl, did you really like Austin? I was thinking the same thing, like, girl, did you really like Austin, or was you like? The truth. She says, and I'm kind of shocked. I'm not too shocked, but I'm kind of just a little bit shocked. She says, like, she really liked Austin. Like, she thought he was attractive, that she really liked him, and that she found him attractive. I don't see it, but go ahead, to each its own, honey, to each its own. Chelley said that she realized that she liked Austin while she was sitting on the toilet. Anyways, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. Each his own. So then Chelley says that I think like KeKe's going back and forth. So I will say with this interview, I love KeKe Palmer, but I wish that she went bit more serious on the questions that the fans really wanted answered, especially because this kind of came out a week after all of the other interviews from the other Islanders, like straight out of when they came out of the villa. So I was hoping that we had more deep in thought questions. This was more given like KeKe, like not KeKe Palmer, but it was giving like a KeKe, like it was giving, you know, let's talk about what happened, but, you know, let's keep it cute. It wasn't given like an interview, like here's all these deep, dark questions that fans are really asking. But she did ask good questions, but I was really hoping for us to get more into it. And I was hoping for, you know, the girls to be a little bit more open to answering the questions, because I can tell there was hesitance on, I want to at least say Olandria's in on answering some of the questions. But we, you know, Chelley, haha, KeKe was asking, about like them leaving, about Ace and Chelley leaving. And she basically said that it was bittersweet, but she left finding the person that she was supposed to be with, and that it really didn't matter of her leaving. I know Chelley kind of said like, you know, she was kind of ready to go. She basically served her purpose here on the island, and that on the last days when they left, she wasn't really upset about it, that she didn't want to cry anymore, that she was happy that where she was at. Next, KeKe kind of asked like, how was the schedule like at Love Island? And they basically tell us like, you know, there is no schedule. They don't know the time, they don't know the day, they don't know the date, they don't know anything. Which is interesting. They also said that with them not knowing those things, it was almost like, you know, how people experience jet lag and you experience like the time difference, because they didn't know the time, because they didn't know what time they were waking up, what time they were going to sleep. It kind of helped them with not being so much jet lag, because, you know, you didn't really know, right? Which I thought was pretty interesting. And then when they would ask producers like what time it is, they would say island time. It's Islander time or something like that. Next, KeKe asked about Olandria and Taylor. Olandria expresses how she was looking for a countryman, and because of how Taylor carried himself and, you know, of his values, she really likes the values. How can I say this? She really likes the values of a countryman. She likes how the way they carry themselves and how they, and the values that they carry, because people who are from the South and are from the country, they do carry themselves in this Southern belle, like, you know, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. How can I say it? Not personality, but that's just their culture. Their culture. So that's the culture of it. It's very, you have manners, you carry yourself a certain way, you treat people a certain way, you have certain values, you have certain morals. You know, you are my definition of raised right. Okay. So she said that she saw that in Taylor, that she loved how detail oriented he was. She loved how he did all these nice and sweet things for her. KeKe asked, how did the girls deal with the germs in the island? And like I said again, like, for me, this is why the interview was kind of like, I was jumping back and forth between notes, and I knew that it would be kind of weird as me doing this review, like, okay, how we go from talking about Taylor and then we go to the germs? But they both said that they get tested. And so they said that they have to be tested before they even enter the island. So that makes sense. And that does make me feel like, okay, good. No germs, because I'm a germaphobe. So no germs. KeKe then asked, why was Ace so non-touchy or has so many boundaries? And the girls was like very shocked that that's how he came off, because they said throughout the villa he was hugging everybody, making sure everybody was good. He was very friendly. He wasn't this non-touchy guy. Like, he was always super nice and very kind. He wasn't this super boundaries kind of guy that was kind of presented to us when he had, you know, basically gave his, you know, his boundaries to Amaya. Next, we have let's say this. Next, we have Chelley, and she says that her and Ace have been together ever since they left the show, ever since they left the villa, and she expressed that they took a social media break, which we can tell. But we're glad that they're back because we love to see them. I love seeing Chelley and Ace, and I love seeing Olandria. Next, KeKe asked about the rumor of Chelley and Ace dating before the show. Chelley says that her and Ace met one time before the show. Because I'm glad she cleared this up, and I'm glad that KeKe asked this because this was something that people were going back and forth with. And I was kind of irritated because it's like one thing, okay, it's not far-fetched that two people may have came in on the show, already knew each other, and scammed the system. That I ain't saying that can't happen. But let's also not act like we ain't met somebody one time and then we randomly see them again and be like, girl, not this the dude I saw the other day. We all have gone through that. So I don't know why that was so unbelievable. But also this is TV and people do stuff on TV that could never be understood or explained. But Chelley basically says that they met each other one time before they entered the villa, and also that everyone kind of knew each other on that show. She said that she already knew Amaya, she already knew Andrina, and that Chelley and Olandria was both like, Andrina did not play about how people said her name, like, because KeKe kept laughing. She was like, why do y'all say her name with it? Like, all of y'all start turning into Latinos, so my Andrina. And it's like, Andrina did not play about her name. And I ain't mad at that. You get one name in this world, and that one name is your representation of who you are. You better say it right. Okay? Period. Next, KeKe asked Chelley what she thought about Taylor and Olandria. So this is basically from Chelley's opinion of what she feels about Taylor and Olandria. She basically said that she thought that Taylor was genuine and that she thought that Taylor will always ask for advice from Chelley about Olandria. He would do all these really great things for her that we did not get to see on the show. Like he was making sure she had her breakfast. He was making sure they did this. He was asking all these questions. And Olandria is kind of like, yeah, like, I don't know why y'all would think I'd be falling so hard for a guy that let alone don't like me and then don't find me physically attractive. Girl, that was a KeKe. I said, please let him know. Let's not play you for no fool, okay? So basically, the person that we seen, but it feels like to me the producers was like, they not trying to expose Taylor, but they were showing how Taylor truly felt, and Taylor was trying to show Olandria something behind what we didn't get to catch from them cameras, okay? But the cameras wanted to catch how true Taylor really felt about Olandria, and that to me. Boo. Okay. Boo. Anyways. Then I would say, what was the next thing that was said? That's why Chelley said that everybody was genuinely shocked that he picked Clark. Olandria said that it was how it was put out on the show was not how it was in the villa. She states that she wouldn't have been head over heels for a guy that didn't like her, like I said, and let alone didn't find her physically attractive, which she had to find out off the show because she did not know that either, which is crazy to me. KeKe also states to Olandria that she stayed strong for a very long time with Taylor, and in the Stand on Business challenge, she says that she was tired. Olandria says that she was tired of being strong and quiet and felt that she was holding herself back from not saying what she really wanted to say. And for me, I had wrote some notes. I feel like I had something I wanted to say. No, I know what I wanted to say. I was going to say that based on how America has treated them, I could tell that they are being a little bit more reserved with what they say and being more careful what they say. I could tell that Chelley does not care as much, but I could tell it kind of is doing something to Olandria, or maybe Olandria is just quiet to herself. We never know because we've seen her on TV, but who she is now may be different. We don't know, but I will say her even thinking her going off on somebody is going to make America not like her, which in half and half it did, and half it didn't. But the fact that Black women can't stand up for themselves and say anything without someone saying something truly bothers me, but it ain't going to happen over here on this channel. I'm going to say what I want to say. Thank you. But of course, we're going to be respectful, no hate, no racism. And we are not going to be saying anything that is not true. So we're always going to put allegedly. Okay. Just to make that clear. So Olandria says that she wasn't mad at Taylor about him picking Clark. She was mad about how he went about it and how he went about it with Olandria and not being honest with her. And I agree. I don't feel like she was ever mad at Clark. I felt like she was upset with how Taylor played in her face and then went and acted like, oh, I finally found the one with Clark. And it's like, why would you do that if you didn't like me? Like she said in the interview, if you didn't like me like that, she said I would have been fine with just being friends. And I agree. Clock that. Okay. KeKe asked what Olandria is thinking. What was Olandria thinking when Nick said he had feelings for her? Olandria says that it wasn't too surprising because he would always pick her for challenges. Olandria says that the reason she ignored the first spark when her and Nick were coupled up at the first time was because she saw how distraught Sierra was at Casa over Nick and didn't want to do a disservice to Sierra. And I get that. One thing about it, Olandria is a girl's girl, but basically she was kind of alluding to the fact that her and Nick were basically kind of trying to ignore the spark and say like, no, we don't have anything, just because they didn't want to, make their friends feel some type of way. And like I said, again, I really hated this Friendship Island vibe. Please, next year, don't come in here with that. I'm a girl's girl. I'm friends. I don't want no friends on here. I want people to find love, find connections with a little bit of drama, a little bit of fun, and a little bit of love. Okay. I'm coming here with all that friend stuff. I don't want to hear that stuff. Okay. So KeKe asked how they felt when Sierra left and what they were told. Basically, Chelley and Olandria said they weren't told anything, which has been the constant thing from each of the Islanders. They weren't really told much when Sierra had left. And then Chelley said that she cried. I don't know what really Olandria's reaction was to it, but she did say she was sad. KeKe asked how Nick and Olandria are doing outside of the villa. Olandria says that Nick hears a lot of the comments from social media about the relationship kind of being, fake or whatever, and that she states that they want to go at the pace that they are going. She basically kind of alludes to like Nick is kind of feeling like, the comments are getting to him. People don't really it's a lot of people who don't really believe in Nick and Olandria. A lot of it has to do with the fact of what has not been displayed on the show. And some of it has to do with white people not catching a grip around that a white man can like a beautiful dark-skinned Black woman. Either way, it is what it is. For me, I will say the reasons why I didn't fully believe Nick and Olandria was because of the things that I seen, and I didn't see a lot of the interaction. I think I was very blinded at the fact that she was so hung up on Taylor that it was kind of hard for me to actually see if Nick was there. Same thing with Nick. Like if I see you hunching on Sierra and y'all feeling like, and you telling her you want to close things off, I don't really see that you and Olandria are kind of, doing stuff. Like it's a lot of people who were kissing other people during challenges that they weren't in a couple with because they liked them, but they just didn't feel like pursuing them. So I didn't pay it attention. I'll say I didn't pay it attention, but I don't think that is unbelievable that Nick likes Olandria. I don't believe that it is preposterous. I believe that it can definitely happen because one thing about it, everybody loves chocolate. Okay. Clark it. So then we have, what did I just say? Oh, we're at the bottom. Sorry. So yeah, he's been, seeing the social media. They said that they're not going to allow social media to rush them at the pace that they are going, that they are going to go at the same pace that they have been going, as they should. There's no need to prove to anybody or any of us, y'all relationship, whether you want to or not. You don't have to prove that to me. That's y'all relationship. I don't care. Not saying I don't care, like I don't care about y'all. I just don't care to be in y'all business. I want y'all to enjoy y'all relationship. I want to clear that up. Olandria says that Sierra has not reached out to Nick at all. I think people have been saying that she has unfollowed him and she's not really talking to him. And I mean, to be honest, I'm not really mad at that. Like, if I was Sierra, I would probably do the same. I mean, I spend this whole time with you and you don't say anything about how you feel. You kind of, I'm gonna be honest, like Nick kind of played it like Taylor, like didn't say nothing to Sierra, played along with it. But every chance he got to meet a new person, he would be into that new person. Nick didn't tell Sierra, I was feeling Olandria, or, maybe I want to explore other things. And truthfully, you can tell it within his actions. He was never really super happy with Sierra, the way that he gets all happy and giddy with Olandria. Even watching Olandria in the interview, she was so giddy to talk about Nick. So it's really cute to see. But, the tendencies that he had with Sierra, I hope that those aren't the same tendencies that he has with Olandria, with not being honest and really saying his true feelings. So that's all I got to say for that. KeKe asked the girls, what is your meaning of girls girl? Chelley says her meaning of girls girl is standing up for all women, not just women who are your friends or people that you are close with. And Olandria says same. I definitely agree. A girls girl is not a girl. It's not just meaning I'm only a girls girl to my friends or my closest friends. A girls girl means if I see a woman in distress, I'm going to help them. If I can help a woman out, or if I see a woman coming in and she's seeming to having a tough time or seeming to have a rough time, I'll come over there and help her and console her, whether I know you or not. If I see you off the street and you like you need help, I'm going to help you. That's my definition of girls girl. I don't have to be close to you to help you. And that kind of shows people's true character when you feel like you have to know someone to be a good person. I'm not a fan of those types of people. You do not have to know someone to be a good person to somebody. And I'm just saying, that's my morals and values. I am going to be a good person to all people, not just people that I know. So that's just me. Can't say that for all the people on the cast. Anywho, they segued into KeKe asking about Huda and the heart rate challenge. Chelley admits she hasn't watched all the episodes yet and was confused as to why people were mad at her for being mad at Huda. I was confused too. If somebody said on my man's face, we're gonna have a problem. Everybody tried to make the excuse, well, she got Chris, so she brought Chris. No, Huda brought Chris over there. Chris said he wanted to pursue Chelley. That ain't got nothing to do with Chelley. Stop. Huda wasn't interested in the Ace this whole time, but now all of a sudden you want to bring Chris and then twerk on my man's face? Don't you? Okay, let me just, this is about Chelley and Olandria. Let me focus. KeKe brings up a good point that the problem was, I don't know what I was writing, y'all. Give me a second. It wasn't the problem that Huda was having fun. It was the level in which she took no regard for Chelley's feelings. She felt that it was taken too far for attention, and she felt that Huda may haven't meant it in a malice way or a malicious way, but she didn't think of how it would hurt Chelley. And I agree. I do not think that Huda was like plotting. But I ain't gonna lie, from the people who have been analyzing this show, it really starts to feel like she has been plotting. But I haven't been analyzing it like that. So I'm not gonna say she did it out of malice intent against Chelley to put up a competition. But I think that because Huda's love and obsession with wanting attention put her in a position where instead of her thinking about her friends and her friends' men, as they are so close to the end of this show, that she didn't think that, maybe I should not be doing all of this. Maybe it's not necessary for me to be wanting all of this attention. But you can't always tell everybody something. But for me, I felt like it was unnecessary attention for something that, like Chelley said, y'all, we're not winning a prize at the end of this. This is just for cool points. So for me, Huda is doing too much, but it's because she wants to be desired, and she thinks that the only way she can be desired is sexually, when truthfully, if you just be yourself and you be your beautiful self, men will desire you. And if they don't desire you, then those ain't the men for you. Simple as that. KeKe asked Olandria how does she feel about it. Olandria says that she didn't watch the episode as well, but from being there with Chelley, Chelley was not wrong for how she felt, and Huda went too far. She also says that Huda said that she went too far. Huda, basically, Olandria says that Huda mentioned that she went too far as well, which we did not get to see on the show because the producers cut it out. Olandria says that Huda was apologetic and regretful after that. So it's crazy how we did not get a chance to see that on the show. So, oh well. Chelley says her only issue was that Chelley says her only issue was that how could you let a challenge blindside yourself from their friendships? Basically what I've been saying. Like, just allowing, it gave pick me energy, and that's the best way I can put it. It gave pick me, like it gives when we all friends and being we all friends and being girly with each other, and we have our girl moments, we all fine. But let a man walk in this room and all of a sudden now we are being performative and showing off and trying to do the most. It gets pick me, that's all. Could have just a pick me, simple as that. Unfortunately, we have to have a few pick-me's in this world to make the world go round. Unfortunately, I don't know. Then we have Olandria and Chelley say that they stand in the stand on business challenge. It was 6 to 7 hours long, and that the people didn't see everything, and that the cast all left that scene feeling like they got everything out of their chest. Like nobody left that scene feeling like they hated Chelley or feeling like Chelley went too far or feeling, they basically left the scene feeling like everything was left off on the table and we're good and we're going to move on. So all the feelings basically that us as America, us that were watching, all those things that we felt really weren't given in the villa, for real. So we was basically doing too much. KeKe says that social media is getting ridiculous and that it was too far, especially when people called CPS on people. And Chelley says that she doesn't stand for that hate and that is going too far. Come to find out, I heard that this is alleged. I heard that the Huda Rats lied and said that Huda got CPS called on her when that didn't happen, which is another way of feeding into her victimhood and feeding into this victim speech, because for some reason they want to paint Huda out to be this victim as if she is just, they just want to paint her out to be this victim that she just isn't. Everyone else is going through actual real hate, and y'all are making up hate to make her look like she is going through something when she's not. What she is going through is what she put herself through. She just has to take accountability. That's all. That's it. That's really what it is. KeKe asked if Sierra was reached out to again. I don't get why this was asked for the third time in a row. Was reached out. Olandria said that she doesn't know because her Instagram is flooded. And that Chelley says that Sierra has reached out to her and that Sierra wants, to give her apologies, talk to everybody, kind of catch up, and kind of just, Chelley feeling bad for her, how she left and how things kind of ended and things like that. KeKe also brings up in the second episode of Love Island when Olandria had made Huda cry after the guy stood up for whoever wanted to stand up to, wanted to get to know Sierra when Sierra first came in as a bombshell. Olandria and Chelley say how exhausting it was to tone down themselves for others so they would not be perceived. So from that, KeKe kind of says, like, I didn't understand why she was crying. Like, KeKe kind of understood where Olandria was coming from. Like, girl, don't create no pity party for me. We're going to be fine. We're just going to have a KeKe about it later, which is what I thought Olandria was doing as well. But again, Huda worked her white woman tears and tried to make it seem as if she was coming for her and how Olandria should just told her that in private. But truthfully, Huda was doing too much. It was given. Huda was so proud that her man sat down and look at all these black women not being desired and look at how y'all are doing them. That's so horrible. But my man didn't do that. Like, that's what it gave. It gave weirdo. It gave pick me. He gave pick me until she wasn't picked. Anywho, let's get it back. But yeah, it's exhausting to tone yourself down to who you are, because no matter what you do, people gonna have a problem with it. People had a problem with them carrying themselves in a classy way. Ain't that ridiculous? Oh well. They said that how convenient it is for others to basically curse and yell, but let them do it and it would be different. I think Olandria said that. Chelley and Olandria said that how everyone would come to them for advice because of how level-headed they were and how loving and caring they were. Which is not surprising, but it does hurt me that they did not show that on this show and painted them out to be villains and then said nothing about it. KeKe brings up an amazing point of how if they acted any different, it would be a different reaction, and how Black women are treated on TV for standing up for themselves is rooted sometimes in anti-Blackness. For example, when Olandria said before she rightfully crashed out on Taylor, America is not going to like this. And that was kind of my point that I made. Like, that rightfully so. Like, she was right to crash out on Taylor. Not saying anybody's right to crash on anybody, but she was right to stand up for herself in that moment, because he did play her and he did act it. He was not being truthful and honest with her about how he felt. And he could have, instead, he was being selfish with his experience there by not telling her how he felt. You know, when you don't tell somebody how you feel in an experience where it's supposed to be about loving it and to know people, you also know that you're ruining someone else's experience, because that person thinks that y'all are locked in and y'all are really not. But you are sitting around here trying to explore. So when you find your person, you're going to go off and do what you want to do. But leave that person to a crappy experience. That's messed up. It's messed up. Sorry, I have to say it. KeKe asked the girls what advice do they have for Black and brown girls, and for whoever like wants to get on reality TV or Love Island. Chelley says to be yourself and have confidence in who you are and not care about really what people say. And I agree with that. Please, when you get on these shows, you have to be confident in who you are, and you really have to know who you are. If you don't know who you are, anybody can turn you into anything they want you to be. So always know who you are. KeKe asked how they felt about Huda and Jeremiah, and they said that it took a toll on the entire villa and it was exhausting, which we know. Like, we know that basically Jeremiah and we basically know that Jeremiah and Huda kind of ruined the experience for Love Island for the first 5 to 6 episodes. Well, half the season. And she still was terrorizing people the entire season. So we already know that. KeKe asked Olandria about Clark, and Olandria mentions the little shady moments Clark had. Olandria said that she just seen those clips and that she thought Clark was nice and sweet, but after those clips, it changed her perspective of her, and that she didn't understand why Clark was coming for her like that. Like I said before in previous episodes, I did not like Clark mocking Olandria. I didn't think it was necessary. I feel like they had their own little tit for tats in their confessionals, but I thought it was like cute little banter because they are going for the same guy. But also too, I thought some of the stuff that came from Clark was a bit childish, solely because like you kind of really coming in taking her connection. She's not coming in taking yours. But it is what it is. I don't hate Clark now. I think Clark is cool from what I've heard, for her praying with the girls, for her being a sweetheart, and people having their own experience with her. I think, I don't know her. I'll probably never know her, but I'm not going to say much on it. But I do agree, and we have to agree that Clark was doing a little shady stuff to Olandria, y'all. So I peeped it. Okay. KeKe asked how do the girls like Amaya? They both said they love Amaya. Amaya, Babaya. We love Amaya over here. KeKe asked Chelley, did she care about people knowing her sexuality? And Chelley said no, and that her parents were extremely supportive of her, and that Ace accepts her and doesn't really care. As long as, she likes him, he don't care. KeKe asked how it was for them in the villa when they found out what America thought about them. They said it threw them off, especially with the ranking episode. I think that was, I forget what episode that was, I'm not gonna lie. But it was the episode, but basically like they were rating their, islanders with like, who's the most genuine, who do you think is this, who do you think is that, and they were ranking them, and then America went and was ranking them the lowest. Which now that I start to think, like, we are somewhat a bit delusional to think that what we see is what's the actual true reality, when in reality how they were voting was basically how they felt people were in the villa, because they actually are living in it. So I think as America, we should have been like, whoa, like, maybe they were genuine. Maybe these people were like nice people. You know what I'm saying? Because these people had to be with them 24/7. So if they're voting certain people that we don't know as genuine people, we might have should have took a step back and said, you know what, maybe we're wrong. But one thing about America, we don't ever want to be wrong, okay? Let me say, I'm starting to feel like, I said in my notes, I'm starting to feel like the producers and editors have made this show feel fake. The girls talk about how no one was in there trying to win, and that Ace isn't this mastermind that we all think he is. Also, that it was impossible for them to know what's happening or to be strategic, because you don't get to know what the day, time, or how long you are in there for, which was meaning like they didn't really know what they know a start time, but you don't really know when the end date is, because you don't know what day it is. You don't know what time it is. They don't tell you this is your last week. They don't tell you all those things. And so I felt like the producers was trying to make certain people out to be these like super sneaky people. But truth of the matter was, they weren't being sneaky because they didn't have the ability to be. Right? KeKe brings the interview to a close with the game. She asks a few questions. I'm only going to take a few. I only took a few notes on these. I wasn't finna go throughout all these questions. If y'all want to see, I'm pretty sure there's other YouTubers who are, probably reviewing every last question. You are welcome to go to their page. I am not going through all those questions. I only went through the questions that I thought were cute and a nice little KeKe. KeKe asked, who got the better edit out of all of the islanders? And the girls were hesitant to answer. They basically they never answered this question. But I'm gonna answer it for them. Huda got the best edit for her to be one of the most diabolical people. If you have not noticed how diabolical she is not. Every person who has got out of the villa and posted a picture of how the villa was, or a recap, half of them have not put Huda in those pictures. Most of them have come out of here and said the edits and cuts of what Huda has done, and Huda has entirely lied. But we're done talking about her. But basically, she kind of asked them that they were supposed to phone, they could phone a friend, but they only get one time to phone a friend. So she phoned. So Chelley had phoned Ace. Ace gave his PR answer. So that's why I said I'm gonna answer for you, Huda. Anyways, next, then she asked who was their favorite kiss was. Chelley said Ace. At first she said Ace, and then Olandria was like, stop, that's not fair. And then Chelley said Ace, Sierra, and Chris. Olandria said Nick, Jeremiah, and Chris were their best kisses. They then asked if they had to pick who they would be coupled up with in the final week. Olandria said Chris. Then you had KeKe gave them the best advice by saying this love shows up in a funny way, and that even haters love you because if they didn't, they wouldn't have anything to say, which I thought was really great to end off on, that interview. I really enjoyed watching that interview. It was nice, but I do wish that we got more of those little bitty questions. But I also think a better interview. I feel like these interviews would be better if the Islanders had watched this already, because then we can get some better answers, probably a little bit more animosity. But I feel like that's going to be saved for the reunion that's coming up August 25th. But anyways, y'all, that is the end of this review. I thank you all for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and share if you would like. But I just want to leave you off on one note. Continue to be you, because you can only be you, and you are doing your best. Love you guys. Bye.